from a very limited knowledge of some geography. You better enlarge, if you are interested, you better enlarge your knowledge of geography, how things, climates change, they recede, they come forward, and you'll be surprised to find that this verse is applicable in turn by turn to almost all the regions of the earth. Thank you.
Can you guide me to any book which
you better find out.
That Arabia was once upon a time it was a fertile land.
I say you better turn to the specialists, geographers, etc., and find out why there is oil underneath Arabian countries, which are desert. What is oil made of?
Thank you.
Thank you. Fine? There's some questions from ladies' side or in writing anyway. Would you go and please start? Madisa, where is you still here? You're using this mic, please come here. Keep sitting then if you can use this mic.
The first question is, brother asked that if Huzur can give some brief account of the persecution and atrocities against Ahmadis in Pakistan.
I don't think it is the right forum for this. Second question, please.
Then a sister writes that if Ahmadis are persecuted and they retaliate, for example, if the students retaliate in the classes when some professors abuse, will it be all right?
The question is whether Islam permits you to retaliate physically if you are abused verbally. The answer is no. The Holy Quran says if you are verbally abused, you have a right to abuse verbally. If you are physically abused, you have a right to retaliate in the same way. So he is talking of a situation, or she is talking of a situation where Ahmadis are verbally abused. So they can defend themselves, get up, and when they are physically assaulted, then they have a right to hit back. But I have advised them not to do it because it will be against their group interest. Please.
Another sister writes that do we, Ahmadi Muslim ladies, need some sign of recognition? For example, sometimes ladies are at once recognized by their headdress, which is a symbol of recognition. The ladies from India, Sri Lanka are known due to India on their foreheads.
Right.
What should be the sign of distinction for the Ahmadi women?
What should be the
sign of recognition?
The sign of recognition is taqwa. That's the best sign. They should wear themselves in the style of a God-fearing lady, and they should be known by that style.
The sister writes that in Abu Dawood, there is a hadith by Hazrat Abu Hurairah, he reported the Holy Prophet ﷺ as saying, the best of the men's robe is the first, and the worst of them is the last. The best of the women's robes is the last.
Just a minute, please read again slowly.
The best of the men's robes is the first, and the worst of them is the last.
I don't know this, which hadith she's talking about. I have never heard of this. So, the questioner must refer to the text and give reference, because I never came across it, and this doesn't mean any sense to me at all, unless I find out where it is said, in what context it is said, I will not be able to answer this question.
The sister writes that if someone suffers because of somebody's injustice,
Fine?
if somebody suffers,
At the hand of some injustice committed against him,
yes,
right?
and he or she is innocent.
Right.
Some people say that this is a what is called this is a trial,
Yes. Ibtila.
and the other says that no, this is a punishment. What is the difference between trials and punishments? The suffering.
The punishment destroys, and the trials bring forth the best in those who are tried. The simple example I can point out is that of what we call Godi in Punjabi. And what do you call it in English? The word I knew, but it's slipping me. Huh? Godi, Malai, weeding out of weeds. If you have witnessed a field where weeds are rooted out, immediately after the process has been done, the looks are so bad, some plants are also injured, and if you do it in munji or wheat, you see, the whole look is so desolate. But after a while, it flourishes forth. In Punjabi, we say "buta marna." Then every sapling becomes stronger and multiplies by itself. So that is ibtila. But if some pigs destroy that field, they also plow it sort of with their special teeth. Nothing is left of that. The whole crop is destroyed. And also, when destruction falls in the form of bolts from heaven, electrical charges strike such areas, they leave it totally desolate, nothing is left. So these are punishments of some sort, or tragedies. In the case of first, it is a tragedy. In the case of second, it could be punishment. But it is not ibtila, it's not trial. In trials, the communities which pass through the trials, they always flourish and increase and become stronger. That has been happening to Ahmadiyya in the last 100 years. That happened to Islam in its early stages as well. That happened to Christianity for 300 years of its early history. They were most beastly treated. Even they were fed to the beasts, but they stood firm and behaved and showed patience, exercised patience in the cause of Allah. And they were the first 300 of years of Christianity whose labor, whose fruit the Christianity is still eating, because it was their sacrifices which have been rewarded. So, ibtila is always rewarded. It does not come to destroy you. Punishment destroys you or leaves you very weak and much smaller and lesser in importance. So that is the major difference between ibtila and azab. Otherwise, all the prophets would be considered to be under azab. There is none among them who had an easy time in life. So just to go through the hard time doesn't mean if somebody is under wrath of Allah. The result would tell us.
The child writes, what can Ahmadi children do for the Jamaat?
What Ahmadis can?
What Ahmadi children can do for the Jamaat?
Ahmadis children can, what they can do for the Jamaat? First of all, this is a very obscure question. I can't understand what is meant by that. If it is asked by a child, I would tell him